Kevin Miles of the FSA, it's a pleasure to be talking to you. How important is this event, do you think, in terms of the landscape for football fans?
I think it's becoming increasingly significant for a lot of people because there's not many other opportunities where those people who contribute so much to our enjoyment of it, on and off the pitch, get the credit they deserve, get a bit of attention drawn to the efforts they put in. I mean, some of these people on a voluntary basis, put in a huge amount of effort enhancing the enjoyment that fans get out of it. And we like to appreciate those who are doing it for money professionally as well, to a very high standard. They get the credit as well.
Kevin, you've been involved in the FSA and football for many, many years. You've seen a lot of changes and so on and so forth. We've just recently had a general election, and of course all the main parties had in their manifestos commitments to football fans which were inspired and influenced by the work you guys do. How encouraging or important is that?
Well, it makes a change. I mean, we're a non-party political organisation, so we drew up our own fans manifesto with 5 points particularly that we were pushing towards the political parties. We wanted to see them do something about the governance of the game, the regulation of how clubs operate on financially. We wanted obviously to get standing back in top level football. We want investment in grassroots football. We wanted to do something about flexible rail tickets for when people have their matches moved because of broadcasting commitments or whatever. And then finally we wanted to redouble efforts about discrimination, getting discrimination out of the game. And we were really heartened by the fact that we didn't have to choose a favourite political party because they almost all said, yeah, we'll have that, we'll advocate that in our manifesto. So there was something about football from our experience and the conclusions we draw about policy in every manifesto. So in a way, it didn't matter who won. We've got something now to go to the next government and say, right, you promised this, let's see you deliver.
Yeah, so many challenges, of course, in the game, challenges that have reared their ugly heads recently, new challenges and so on and so forth. What are the things that perhaps concern you the most going into sort of 2020 in the game of football, and how can we tackle those problems?
Well, football is so diverse and there's so many people. We represent fans, over 500,000 fans, right from the top, from the Liverpool right down the bottom of the pyramid, and the issues facing fans are different at every level. I think it's hard to pick out one that is necessarily has the same impact everywhere else, because obviously fans further down the pyramid aren't as concerned about standing as fans in the Premier League and the Championship, where it's not allowed. So that's going to be one big breakthrough we hope to see in the next year or so as a return of standing at top level football. But I think the minds of a lot of us were concentrated a bit by what happened with Bury earlier this season. When you've got a football club can actually disappear, get excluded from the league because of bad ownership, people who put their own personal financial interests above that of a community, of a club, and enormously important community asset. And suddenly you've got football fans there, maybe only a few thousand, but a few thousand for whom their club has just disappeared. It's just not there anymore. And that's got to ring alarm bells everywhere, that the authorities cannot allow a situation to develop where a football club disappears.
In the last sort of couple of years, some of the work you've done, what have been the great achievements? I mean, obviously you mentioned being in the manifestos, of course, but they are commitments for ongoing ideas and projects. But what I suppose, what has the FSA done where you thought that we've made an impact there and you've been particularly proud of it?
Well, I think the obvious one's a few years old now, but it's a campaign that we had around away ticket prices in the Premier League, because you remember that we were getting reports of away fans, Liverpool fans and Manchester City fans at Arsenal, £62 they were being charged. And we had a campaign under the slogan of 20 is plenty. We hadn't get the £20 that we wanted, but we got a cap at £30 for any away tickets. Now that's had an impact on away attendances, but it's saved a lot of fans a lot of money, so that's a concrete improvement. I think the work that we've done behind the scenes has been slow and painstaking, but convincing people patiently about the standing issue. I think we're about to see that bear fruit as well. But if there's one thing I'm particularly proud of, it's the Fans for Diversity scheme that we run with Kick It Out as a joint thing, where we've literally invested in fan groups up and down the country in making sure that all the diverse sections of the community that clubs are based are represented in the ground, that you've now got far greater visibility of LGBT fan groups in football. You've got some groups like the Punjabi Rams, the Bangla Bantams, and the Asian communities in various different towns and cities getting involved in the football clubs, more access for disabled fans, really making sure that football clubs as part of the community represent that whole community.
And the Euro 2020 is not too far away, of course. England are there hosting games. What are you going to be doing for the tournament come the summer?
Well, it's a really interesting hybrid Euro 2020 because England's ended up accidentally. You can get through to the final and only play 2 games away from home.
So you're talking about the final, Kevin. Come on, England.
Well, only because it's at Wembley. But if we got 3 group games at Wembley, so we'd have potentially only 2 away games at the the round of 16 and the quarter final. Now, Dublin and Rome if we finish top of the group, so could be quite an adventure. I think you've got to be, I mean, even with my bitter experience of tournaments over the decades, you can't help having a little bit of optimism creeping in, thinking, if it's not going to be this time, when's it going to be? You're not going to get much of a run. That group's not too difficult. And then, say, the semi-final and the final on home soil, that's got to be an advantage.
Well, you'll be there, and hopefully I'll be there, Kevin. And hopefully England will be there, more to the point.
It's the one thing that's missing from my football career is medal ceremonies.
Kevin, pleasure talking to you. Nice one.